Hey, Sound Engraver here. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to learn how to approach the ducking effect for our electronic music. Now with ducking, you're going to need two audio signals. The first audio signal will be at its full value with the other signal pulled back, depending on the threshold you give it, and that is ducking. Now when that first audio signal is finished or released, then the other signal that had been ducked will ramp back up. And this is also known as side chaining. This is used in podcasts or radio series where you have some high energy music about to introduce that wonderful series, that wonderful podcast series, and you have a voice introducing the series as well. Well, without the ducking effect, that voice would be lost in the mix. It would be muddled or buried in that high energy music, that energetic music. So with sidechain or with the ducking, you would have the voice at its fullest value, at that audio signal being at its fullest value, and you'd have the music pull back. And when the voice is finished, the music would smoothly ramp back up. So that is what is known as ducking effect or side chaining. And it's also a technique used in EDM music or popular music where we have kind of that pumping effect. That's also what it's called. Or that's more of an application of the ducking effect. So for our two audio signals, we're going to use this bass instrument called drifting in hyperspace. And I haven't modified it. That's what it's called. That's provided to you by Logic Pro. Let's go ahead and have a listen with it being with our noise gate instrument we had last week. So it's rather bland. There's not much motion. It does need some drive. It needs some rhythm. So we're going to go ahead and explore our noise gate plugin again because it has another feature, and that is our ducker feature. So whereas before we had our gate here with our reduction option, now we have our ducker option at a given threshold here. So let's compare the two. I thought up an idea to bring down the tempo. I think I'm going to bring it down to about 50 beats per minute. And we're going to try it with the noise gate first. I'm going to go ahead and mute this instrument, and we're going to go ahead and just listen to that bass instrument. And for our second audio source, I have our kick here. This is what the kick sounds like. So very slow for you there. And that is the second audio source I'm going to use inside my noise gate plugin. So let's go ahead and take a listen to it with gate. And I want you to watch very closely these open and close lights and see if you can see the difference happening. So that was gate, and you could see that right at the kick, that open light turned on, and then after the kick was released, it closed back up. So let's go ahead and see the ducking, or the ducker. So that was a little bit more ambiguous, but you can see that the kick came first and this was closed. And then once that kick was released, the instrument came into play. So let's go ahead and ramp back up that tempo to 120 beats per minute. And let's make sure that in our sidechain we have our kick instrument. That is our audio source we're using this decking effect for. And we'll also go ahead and unmute this chameleon instrument and play with some values. I think I'm going to unmute the chameleon, or mute the chameleon. For some reason, I can't hear that ducking effect as much as I want. So let's go ahead and mute that again and just play with some values. So, like noise gate, I find that it is much more poignant, much more nuanced when the attack is relatively short, like 3 milliseconds, anything under 10. And I personally like the short release. I don't think it's as effective the longer you go, especially above 100 milliseconds. And I like the threshold really at negative 50 dB. I feel it's more, it's not that it isn't effective, it just doesn't sound like the ducking effect when the threshold is above a certain number. So I like to keep it at negative 50 dB and probably between negative 15, 16, and 30 here. So that's that. But as far as pumping effect, it's not quite full. It doesn't have that full sound. And that's where we should use the compressor. So let's go ahead and get out of noise gate. And, oh, that is the chameleon track. Let's go ahead and go to our bass track, bypass that noise gate, and go ahead and turn on compressor. And we will use it as a sidechain. So our sidechain instrument here is kick. And I believe you can use it as effectively if the kick were muted or brought down low. Let's just go ahead and keep the kick and so we can hear that for our reference. And we'll take it away. I have the auto gain off. I have the auto, I believe, for release and attack, that is off. I have a pretty high volume as far as makeup gain, and pretty substantial ratio there. And I have it heavily compressed. So let's go ahead and hear this pumping effect. So yeah, I think the pumping effect is quite effective. You can hear it is made for house, it is made for EDM and that kind of genre. But like noise gate, I'm experimenting with these plugins. I would like to use these features for experimental electronic music. But that is the function of decking primarily. That is what it's typically used for. So hopefully that gives you some inspiration to approach these plugins, find ways to do these plugins for your compositional purposes. So thank you again for watching and listening, and always be on the lookout for some sound experimentation every Thursday. Be sure to subscribe for the latest sounds, and feel free to comment in the comment section below on what you hear, what you think, also what projects you're working on as well. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.